The Chicago Bulls have made a move in NBA free agency. Seeps, host of the Bulls Report.
Tre Jones.
Tre Jones to Chicago.
We thought this was coming after the Lonzo Ball, Isaac Okoro trade. The Bulls had a dire need at the backup point guard position. Tre Jones filled in very nicely this past season after the Zach LaVine trade. We thought this was probably going to be a 2-year deal for Tre, but he ended up getting 3 years, $24 million, a fantastic, just true point guard off the bench. I love this move for the Bulls. And also with him, when he came to Chicago, he was shooting 57% from the field, 50% from downtown, playing around 29 minutes a night. So he was a high volume guy. I thought this was a expected move for Chicago. But now your guard rotation for the future, you got 2 young guards off the bench, Tre Jones, Ayo Dosunmu, and now still in the starting lineup, you got Josh Giddey, Kobe White. Could a Kobe White trade still happen? I think it's unlikely unless it's for a sign and trade with Jonathan Kuminga. I think that's the only way this deal gets done. But, I mean, Tre Jones, he was fantastic for Chicago when he came in that Zach LaVine deal. Now, a lot of us thought the main piece of the pie of that trade was just the Bulls getting the protections off that pick from the San Antonio Spurs, where obviously now they had full control when they drafted Noah Senge, or else that pick would have been going to San Antonio. But a 3-year, $24 million deal for a high-end backup point guard, not really no complaints there.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what the market is for a player like him. Only 25 years old, shot the ball really well from 3. I'd like to see him increase the volume there. 1.2 threes per game with Chicago. Let's double that. Let's get 2.5 3 assists or 3 shots per game from downtown. And listen, we always, and I know you've done this a lot, the Bulls' direction seems to be confusing at times, but young players that are ascending and are cheap, it's kind of hard to argue with the move like this. A move like this is not the reason why the Bulls are where they are. This is actually a good value signing, and with more opportunity with Chicago, he proved he was worthy of this contract.
And still the big question mark with the Bulls, and Mark Eversley and our tourists have talked about, is how do you find that guy? This is also a tradable contract. Who's a young player, maybe if somebody else becomes disgruntled with their organization, they could package Tre Jones, Kobe White, multiple first-round picks, and go try to get that other guy. But also the Bulls are kind of banking on a guy like Modest Buzelis taking that next step. Hopefully a Senge ends up working out. Maybe Josh Giddey becomes an all-star in the Eastern Conference. But I'll ask you guys, grade the signing of Tre Jones for me. I'd probably give this an A- for the Bulls. Got a low-risk move here. You needed a backup point guard, familiar with Billy Donovan, obviously. So I'll probably give it an A-. Harry, if you got a grade here?
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a B+ A- grade. Cheap contract, very tradable. Had a career, kind of broke out with the Bulls last year. They're expecting that to carry over, clearly, to give him this 3-year commitment. So I like the move, and I think Bulls fans should too, even if admittedly there hasn't been a lot to trust with this front office recently. I think this is a move you can get behind.
I guess the only negative is does this keep the Bulls in the play-in tournament? That's probably the only downside.
There's another home game for Jerry.
For Jerry. He's got to get that 42nd home game every single year. But Tre's been consistent throughout his NBA career. He's always been fairly healthy besides this past season with the Bulls. And I think he is a guy who's going to man the ship for the second unit. You're going to have a lot of young and athletic wings like a Senge with that second group. So having a point guard that can actually control the game when Josh Giddey is off the court, I like it. He'll probably be joined. That second unit for the Bulls is probably going to be either a Senge or Patrick Williams. You got a Okoro, Ayo, and then either Jalen Smith or Zach Collins. But I still like having that true point, get guys in right positions there. Now, why haven't we gotten reports about a Josh Giddey extension just yet? That's kind of where I'm just baffled that we haven't gotten this news, because free agency, we are an hour and 15 minutes into it, haven't really heard anything. I'm assuming the Bulls, they're negotiating against themselves right now. There's nobody else that can pay Josh Giddey, especially after the Brooklyn Nets news. They traded for Michael Porter Jr. Their cap space necessarily just got cut in half, and they were really one of the only teams that could give Giddey $30 million per year. Harry, I don't know if you look too much into it. Is there a contract that you think's ideal for the Bulls and Josh Giddey?
I think you'd love to get him on a 3 for $75. I don't think that's super realistic. Although, again, with the new CBA, who can really offer more? The answer now actually is nobody, because Brooklyn just made that trade to swap Cam Johnson for Michael Porter Jr. If you're watching live on Chat Sports, more to come on that. But I think it's also one of those, and the Bulls can only blame themselves, when you make this move to switch Caruso for Giddey, and Giddey plays pretty well for you, what are you going to do? Punt on that? Like, I think you have to sign him. Now, again, you'd rather have him at 20 to 25 than 30 to 35. He hadn't signed yet, so maybe the Bulls are playing hardball and basically saying, good luck finding more elsewhere, because it would take some wild sign and trade for us to agree to for that to be the case. But again, if you could get him at that 25 mil clip, I think that would be pretty good. I will say this about Josh Giddey, Seeps. He does play a fun brand of basketball.
Definitely
you can
does.
increase the tempo with him. In theory, he should be better defensively. He's got good size. He's got decent foot quickness, so maybe that can still grow. That and his shooting, if there can be an uptick there, you could be looking at a fringe all-star here. It's been very inconsistent.
Post all-star break for Giddey in 19 games, he averaged 21 a night, 11 rebounds, 9.3 assists, and from the three, he was 45%.
If you can get more of that consistently, that's a good player.
Now, that's a huge question mark, and still, I've been asking this question a whole lot on the Bulls Report recently. Can you win a championship, or can you even contend for a championship, when your point guard can't defend or knock down open threes consistent enough? Like, I still don't know that with Giddey, and I still think the Bulls front office is looking at the Indiana Pacers. They had a playmaking big point guard with a bunch of athletes running up and down the floor. That's what that Ascengate pick was. They're hoping he can be another one of those guys. Modest Buzelis are probably hoping he can be like the Pascal Siakam. Now, can you go find that Miles Turner once the Vooch era is finally over with the Bulls? Who knows? But I think this was just this is a deal. It's, not a matter of if it will get done. I think it's just when and how much.
Yeah, I mean, he's restricted. The Bulls have control. So, maybe they just see what transpires over the first day or two. There's not really a rush.
No.
You don't want to get yourself into a Zach LaVine situation. But, again, no one can sign him to some crazy offer sheet because the cap space isn't there. So they don't have to jump into something crazy here. So, again, I think this is kind of a wait-and-see game. I'd be shocked if he wasn't on their team. I think he'll be back.
The only way I could see it, if there's like a sign-in trade that nobody is reporting, nobody's talked about, and we just don't see it yet. But again, I feel like that's unlikely. And, Harry, you're talking about like that Caruso trade. What's the one thing the Bulls front office can kind of hang their hat on? Like the one positive move they have made over the last 3 years would probably be giving up Alex Caruso for a guy like Josh Giddey. Are you just going to let that guy walk out the door?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. But if we get any more updates on that, we will have a video for you guys ASAP, so hit that subscribe button. Don't miss a thing around your favorite basketball team. Hopefully times are eventually changing for us Bulls fans. I'm sick of purgatory. I'm sick of the play-in tournament, and we'll wait and see if anything else changes. But hit that subscribe button on your way out. We'll see you guys next time. Go Bulls.